Running commentary, album reviews. We are revisiting classic albums. We listen from start to finish. Michael Jackson, Dangerous. This album was released in 1991 with the head-off single Black or White. An epic video, an epic song. Huge record. Black or White, how do we feel about that song? It has its place. Is it something I'm going to be rushing to listen to? No. I think it's fine as what it's trying to achieve in terms of its lyrical content. I was just never a fan of the annoying child at the beginning that wanted the music turned up and was an annoying little brat and had basically ruined the record before it even started for me. But in all seriousness, Black or White was an epic record which made a lot of difference to a lot of people. I wasn't one of the people it made a difference to, but you get the point. Remember the Time, however, did make a difference with me. I loved this video, Eddie Murphy and Iman in this video, and it was really just an incredible achievement. The whole video was just sensational, and the song, I think, really matched. It was really in the pocket. I loved the vocals, the raspy vocals at the end of this track, and Remember the Time, I would say, is easily one of my favorite songs from this album. Will You Be There, which was sort of a spiritual feel, sort of gospel kind of song, and it worked very well. It didn't move me in the same way Earth Song had done, and I felt it was almost a continuation of what Earth Song had achieved as a #1 record in the UK, this sort of hymn-like presence. It's definitely a form of inspiration which Michael was able to put into these sort of more spiritually awakened records, but I felt that Earth Song had really captured this in the best possible sense. Who Is It is another track from the album. Very, very slick produced video. Good song. Really like the sort of rhythmic beatboxing that Michael Jackson does on a lot of his tracks, and I enjoyed Who Is It thoroughly. Jam is the opening track. It never really sat particularly well with me when rap was involved with Michael Jackson's music. Somehow or another, Michael Jackson and rap to me did not mesh particularly well. I always thought it was a good idea in theory, but the reality of it is that it sounded slightly forced and not organic. Why You Wanna Trip on Me is a groove. I like the background vocals on this. It kind of, this raspy vocal it's a good thing. I like the way he sings like that, but sometimes in a song, it just leaves me a little bit cold, so it's not my favorite. In the Closet is a great sort of mood piece, great for posing, fits in with the whole sort of fashion thing. It's rumored that Madonna was the background singer on this. They were scheduled to work together. There was lots of speculation, and it was supposed to be a secret, which sort of tied in with the whole kind of In the Closet theme. So In the Closet, to me, works as a piece of marketing. She Drives Me Wild is a good sort of Teddy Riley kind of, it does this. It's that's what it is. That's the whole point of the song. Its whole journey is to get to that That's the hook. It works. Do I love it? It's okay. I'm not mad at it. It makes sense in that sort of rhythmically syncopated style of thing that they were trying to do on his album, and which Teddy Riley is really well known for. Can't Let It Get Away, repetitive. It keeps saying can't let it get away, can't let it get away. Rhythmic, not memorable. Heal the World is a really big song in Michael Jackson's catalog. But it was also, if you think about it, it was just very... this is very, very tricky. This is the Christmas before the child scandal breaks. Heal the World, kids are all over the front of this record. It is like a sing-along, like Kumbaya style Michael Jackson song. It's a good song. Heal the World's an important song. It gives hope to people. It's a very sort of Coca-Cola. It's just a very, very good, well-written song. But in retrospect, you think about where that sits in his career in relation to the allegations, and you feel sort of bad. It was so unfortunate the way the timing of things happened. Michael Jackson was on tour for Dangerous when this scandal broke. It was just a terrible, terrible blow on every level to be accused of something of that nature. And that's what makes me sad about Heal the World, is I feel like it sort of takes me back to that time when, these allegations were going around, and it's a good song, but it makes me sad. Given to Me is Dirty Diana Part 2. I think it's Slash on guitar. It's that thing again, isn't it? Oh, great, let's put Slash on the record. I get the fusion. I get the wanting to include people from different genres. I just never believed Michael Jackson in this sort of strutting kind of Mick Jagger thing. I just never bought it. And Give In To Me is like, big hit, number 2 record in England. Reminded me of Dirty Diana, A. B, I just didn't like it. I really, really did not like that song. It just didn't strike me as being natural. Keep the Faith is another of these spiritual songs. Good song. I think Will You Be There's better. I think they kind of do similar things. It's along that line of this sort of spiritual Michael Jackson talks about when he writes songs about stepping into a river. I completely empathize with that. That is what happens when you are writing a song. It comes to you and you step into the river and you let the river take you. Gone Too Soon is a beautiful, beautiful ballad. It's an excellent, excellent ballad. It's right up there with, things like She's Out of My Life. It's up there with any of the sort of real respected Michael Jackson ballads. I Just Can't Stop Loving You. Gone Too Soon is just a beautiful, intuitive, emotional masterpiece. It's just, this is what Michael Jackson does best, are these heart-rending songs with a very clear voice, perfect pitch, very sort of fantastical sort of movie-style music in the background, giving it this sort of sweeping presence. And this is what Michael Jackson, I think, really excels at. The title track here was not my favorite. We've talked about other title tracks where they didn't work out so well. Color by Numbers was another of these where it just doesn't really matter. It's on the album because it's called Dangerous. Other than that, there's nothing really to remind me. There's always songs, usually always songs that should be left off of an album. Yeah, I would have left Dangerous off. I just don't think it adds anything. In terms of Bad and Dangerous, the expectation was so high on these records. You have to imagine, after you're coming off of Thriller, you've got Bad, which was not the best received record. Bad was not critically acclaimed in the same way that Thriller was. People weren't jumping up and down. Following up Thriller, which is one of the best-selling albums of all time, and then Bad, which had not been that well received. Maybe there was a feeling that we wanted to move into a more contemporary audience, which is why Teddy Riley was engaged for the project, to give it that sort of more urban, kind of contemporary feel. And I think in some ways it succeeded. I never liked the album cover for Dangerous as well. I didn't think that was a good marketing tool. I think what he was trying to give was mystery, and what he gave instead was clutter, which might actually have been a representation of the way the mind was wired. But I thought the album cover for Dangerous was a mistake. And why was it called Dangerous, really? I'm obviously very fond of Michael Jackson. I think we all are. I think there's so much of his work which is really transformative, and everyone has a Michael Jackson song that they really like and really enjoy. So on Dangerous, I think you have a lot of good things. And the things that are not so great is this sort of effort to contemporize it and bring it into a more kind of R&B sort of sensibility, which Michael Jackson definitely has R&B chops, but he had the old R&B chops as opposed to the new sort of R&B chops, which is sort of a lot more irreverent and a lot less regimented than the way that Michael Jackson would do things in terms of practicing. And, the Jacksons practiced constantly, hours and hours and hours a day. Regular R&B for me is something which is a little more organic. You sing, we get the beat, we get the bass, boom, boom, R&B. That's the way R&B happens. This was trying to be an R&B record, but it was so very carefully put together that you lost some of the R&B effect. I wasn't getting that from this. So the overall rating for the album would be 68% for Dangerous. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, recommend it to friends, post comments. Also, if you have an album that you'd like to hear reviewed, we welcome your requests.